didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime. There's basically just, someone who brought a civil case.
But not long after this conviction, Diddy's lawyer pulled the stunt of the century as he bowed out of the case. Rumor has it that when he heard his client's victim leak evidence from the prosecution, he couldn't sacrifice his career, leading him to walk out and know it wasn't just the damning files or tapes presented, but the grim description spilled by Diddy's lover of 10 years. Let's take a dive in. Diddy's lawyer takes a bow out. Let me paint this picture for you real quick. Imagine you're about to go into the biggest fight of your life, and then your main trainer, the one who's been prepping you this whole time, just throws in the towel before you even step in the ring. That's basically what happened when Anthony Rico, one of Diddy's 6 attorneys, said, "Nah, I'm good," and bounced faster than a rubber check on February 20th, 2025. Rico filed withdrawal paperwork quicker than people unfollow a canceled celebrity in 4 days. Later, Judge Arun Subramanian was like, "Bet you out," but what's got everybody's jaw on the floor is how Rico phrased it, stating, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Shaw Combs." Y'all hear that? Under no circumstances. That's like your doctor looking at your x-rays and saying, "There's nothing I can do for you." When a professional uses language that strong, that's not just a red flag, that's a whole red parade with fireworks and everything. And let me tell you something that'll really blow your mind. This Anthony Rico ain't just some ambulance chaser who got his degree from a cereal box. This man is a veteran attorney who previously represented clients as notorious as Osama bin Laden. Let that sink in for a minute. A lawyer who defended literal terrorists looked at Diddy's case and said, "This is too hot for me to handle." That's like Gordon Ramsay walking out of your kitchen saying your cooking situation is beyond saving. So what made Rico hit that eject button like his chair was on fire, while attorney-client privilege keeps him from spilling all the tea? The timing speaks volumes louder than your mama when she catches you sneaking in past curfew right before. Rico said, Deuce's sources close to the case say that Cassie Ventura dropped some private recordings of her conversations with Diddy. We don't know exactly what's on them tapes, but whatever it was hit harder than when Drake dropped that surprise, Kendrick D. These weren't just regular conversations about what to have for dinner. They allegedly contained information so spicy that they flipped the whole case upside down like a pancake. Whatever Cassie leaked must have been nuclear. I'm talking about the kind of information that makes a professional lawyer with decades of experience look at his client and be like, "You know what I think? I left my stove on at home forever." Buy in what looks like a desperate scramble to save face, like putting a band-aid on the Titanic. Diddy's remaining legal squad reportedly tried to clap back by releasing what they called shocking text messages from Cassie. This whole back and forth leaking created more chaos than a Waffle House at 3:00 a.m. on a Saturday, with both sides trying to win in the court of public opinion. It's in this whole mess that Rico decided to skirt his way out of there. While he never straight up said his exit was because of these leaks, the timing is more suspicious than your significant other's phone suddenly getting a passcode. After 3 years of dating, was it them recordings that made him say, "I'm out"? This Jay, did he have beef with the strategy of leaking Cassie's texts as a countermove? Or did he peep something in this exchange that told him this case was more doomed than a character who says, "I'll be right back" in a horror movie? His spokesperson just cited irreconcilable differences with Diddy as the official explanation, but we all know that's code for there's a whole iceberg under this tip. That's like breaking up with someone and saying it's not you, it's me, when we all know it was definitely them. Rico wasn't just some random lawyer Diddy found on a billboard or the back of a bus. He's a well-respected New York attorney with mad experience in high-profile cases. His departure left Diddy with 5 remaining lawyers, including Mark Egg and Tenny Garagos, who are still hanging in there like the last 2 people at a party that should have ended hours ago. But word on the street suggests Diddy's legal team is fractured like a dropped iPhone screen, with no case described by one source as a real A_show due to infighting and lack of focus. When your legal squad is beefing worse than East Coast, West Coast in the 90s, that's a bad look before trial. That's like showing up to court with your tie undone and yesterday's coffee stain on your shirt while his legal team is trying to put together a defense held together with duct tape and prayers. Diddy's been getting acquainted with that jail life since they locked him up in September 2024. He's been stuck at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a federal joint notorious for conditions rougher than gas station bathroom toilet paper. How the mighty have fallen from All About the Benjamins to All About the Commissary, from private jets to prison, CS from champagne baths to, well, let's just say those prison showers ain't exactly equipped with luxury bath products. The physical toll of incarceration is visible on Diddy. Now his once jet black hair and beard have turned gray, as hair dye is prohibited in prison. This transformation was evident during court appearances where he wore a khaki jail uniform instead of the designer clothes he was known for trying to give us Poor Me vibes when he spent decades living like a king while allegedly causing harm. 2 women don't fall for that act. That's like a wolf putting on sheep's clothing after spending years terrorizing the flock to cope with his new reality. Combs reportedly focuses on his legal preparation, meeting frequently with his attorneys. In a conference room, off the common area, he has access to a non-Wi-Fi enabled laptop to review evidence for his case. Available daily from 8 o'clock a.m. to 3:30 p.m. in a visiting room, but that's a far cry from the luxury and freedom he's used to. That's like going from flying first class your whole life to suddenly being crammed in the middle seat in economy with a crying baby on both sides. Now, let's talk about what this means for his case when a high-profile attorney like Rico walks away from a case this big. It sends shockwaves through the entire legal community. It's like when the smartest kid in class gets up and walks out of the exam, everybody else starts sweating. The other lawyers got to be thinking, what does he know that we don't? And it ain't just Rico. Word on the street is that Diddy's been having trouble keeping lawyers throughout this whole saga. It's giving, if you can't keep your legal team, how are you going to beat these charges? Energy lawyers are supposed to be ride or die for their clients. That's literally their job. So when they start dropping like flies, you know something is seriously wrong. Let's be real for a second. Lawyers don't just walk away from high-profile, high-paying clients unless something is seriously wrong. These folks went to school for years, built their reputations over decades, and understand better than most what's at stake. In cases like these, when someone like Rico says under no circumstances can he continue representation, that's lawyer speak for this situation is beyond redemption. That's like a mechanic looking at your car, and instead of giving you an estimate, they hand you a brochure for a new vehicle, and the timing of this exit right after Cassie supposedly leaked those recordings. That's no coincidence. That's like your friends suddenly remembering they have plans right after you ask them to help you. Move the universe doesn't work in coincidences that big, so what could possibly be on those recordings that would make a seasoned attorney run for the hills? While we don't know the exact contents, and I'm keeping this family-friendly for all our younger viewers, we can read between the lines. Whatever was said in those conversations was likely enough to make Rico realize this case wasn't just difficult, it might be impossible to win. What makes this situation even more wild is how Diddy's remaining legal team reportedly responded by trying to leak their own shocking text messages from Cassie. That's like bringing a water pistol to a firefight if your opponent has audio recordings that made your own lawyer quit. Text messages aren't going to save you. That's like responding to I have video evidence with, well, I have a strongly worded letter. It just doesn't compare. This whole situation shows just how desperate Diddy's defense has become when your strategy shifts from prove my innocence to discredit the accuser. You're already fighting a losing battle, and when that strategy is so questionable that it drives away your own legal counsel, game over. The fact that Rico walked away speaks volumes about not just the legal aspects of this case, but the moral ones too. Lawyers are trained to defend their clients, regardless of personal feelings. That's the whole basis of our legal system, but even they have lines they won't cross, and whatever line was crossed here was apparently so severe that Rico couldn't justify staying on even for what was undoubtedly a massive payday. As this case continues to unfold, keep your eyes on Diddy's legal team. If more lawyers start heading for the exit, that'll tell you everything you need to know about how this trial is likely to end, because in the court of law, just like in the court of public opinion, actions speak louder than words, and Rico's action of walking away, that's screaming louder than any statement his PR team could ever release. Cassie, the victim, whose leaks made Diddy's defense weak.
I can tell you that immediately, the moment she opened her mouth, you could see that Combs was listening intently to everything that she has to say, as well as those jurors.
Yo, what's good, fam? The tea ain't just hot, it's nuclear puff. Daddy PDY brother loved. Whatever he calling himself today, his federal trial popped off on May 12, 2025. And the charges are dummy thick. We talking racketeering, conspiracy trafficking, and transportation charges. But listen, when Cassie Ventura stepped into that courtroom, it was like dropping a bomb on Diddy's whole existence for 3 straight days. Shorty showed up, 8 months pregnant, with her belly all the way out, and still had the audacity to testify for 3 whole days. That's some real queen energy right there. Imagine being that pregnant and still having to relive trauma in front of your abuser. That's like running a marathon while carrying twins and being chased by a bear. Cassie spilled all the beans about their decade-long situationship from 2007 to 2018, and y'all, the tea burned my whole mouth off. Let me put you hip to these so-called private parties, and these weren't just normal gatherings. These were inappropriate situations with hired performers that Diddy wasn't just organizing, he was directing them like he's Martin Scorsese. According to Cassie, he was handing out substances like they was Halloween candy, keeping everybody under his control. That ain't a vibe, that's some supervillain type behavior. That's like if your DJ also decided he wanted to be your cult leader and pharmacist at the same time. I was heavily objectified. Cassie testified and explained how arranging these gatherings became her actual job, including hiring people with Diddy's bread. Can you even imagine being forced to do some wild stuff like that? She said these experiences left her physically and emotionally cooked. needing mad time to recover. This fool had her working as his personal assistant for inappropriate situations while he was out here flexing like he the king of New York. The disrespect and the blackmail situation, Cassie said Diddy threatened to expose private recordings if she tried to bounce or didn't comply with his demands. That's some straight up on Heimer level evil. Using recordings to trap someone is like telling your girl, if you leave me I'm posting our private photos, except multiply that by 1 billion and add fame, money and power to the equation, and we ain't even got to the hands part yet. We all peeped that hotel video where he rocked her, but Cassie said that was just the appetizer before the main course. She testified about the now infamous 2016 Intercontinental Hotel beatdown caught on them security cameras where Diddy allegedly gave her the business when she tried to bounce from a gathering early, but beyond that footage she talked about a whole pattern of abuse, including being mashed in my head, dragged along the floor, kicked, stomped on my head. Bro, what? I don't care. If you got $1 trillion in your account, you can't be putting mitts on women. No cap the Kid Cudi whip, getting torched absolutely wild. Cassie testified that Diddy orchestrated the 2012 arson of Cud's ride. After finding out she was vibing with him and Cud's people confirmed this story. Imagine being so insecure and controlling that you'd light someone's car on fire just because they texted your girl. That's like finding out your ex got a new man, so you call in an airstrike on his apartment. Complex. If that doesn't scream dangerous narcissist with God complex, I don't know what does. Of course, Diddy's legal squad led by attorney Anna Estevao is in the courtroom doing the most during cross-examination. Their whole strategy is more than them fashion Nova jeans first. They're trying to paint this relationship as consensual and mutually volatile, rather than one-sided. Abuse GTFO with that when someone got all the power, all the bread, and threatening to air you out. That consensual talk is trash. They really pulled up some dusty text from March 3, 2016. Where Cassie supposedly said, "We can have fun, I don't want you thinking, I don't want to." Regarding one of these gatherings, acting like that wipes away years of alleged abuse. That's that classic abuser playbook. Flip the script and make the victim look crazy. We see you working, and that work is sloppy. They're also trying to assassinate Cassie's character by bringing up her $20 million civil lawsuit settlement with Combs in 2023 to suggest financial motivation. Like sis, after dealing with all that trauma, that's pennies. They really out here trying to paint Cassie as a gold digger. Because of the settlement, that's like saying someone who got their house burned down is just trying to scam the insurance company. The caucasity of it all. The defense team's legal argument is weaker than gas station Bluetooth headphones while they're admitting the relationship had problems. Biggest understatement since Titanic had a small leak there, saying these issues don't add up to federal crimes like racketeering or trafficking. They keep saying this case belongs in state court, basically saying the feds need to fall back like you right now. This man allegedly ran an entire RICO operation. That's like saying Al Capone just had accounting issues through all this explosive testimony. Diddy's sitting there, trying to look innocent. With his fake composure, he's got this stone-faced expression, occasionally throwing heart signs to his family members, blowing kisses, and mouthing "I love you" to his mama Nah. Burr trying to front like he's Family Man of the Year, while Cassie's describing years of alleged abuse. That's like Jeffrey Dahmer showing up to court with a cookbook and acting surprised when people give him side-eye.
But he can't say anything. You know, this is a moment for him where he has to be silent. And right now we're hearing what she says in terms of what happened during the course of their over 10-year relationship.
Now Diddy, getting a taste of that real life, heading back to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn every night, a long way from his Hamptons mansion and private jet lifestyle. That joint is known for having conditions rougher than 2000 grit sandpaper, and that's where his designer wearing behind will be posted up until this trial wraps, which could take up to 2 months if convicted on all charges. Brother Love could face a life sentence, and honestly, that's exactly what he deserves. If these allegations are proven true, from take that to take these handcuffs is a crazy fall from grace, but that's what happens when karma finally catches your address. Family support and public reaction. As Diddy faces the fight of his life, his family has provided a display of unity and support throughout the legal proceedings, offering a stark contrast to the disturbing allegations against him. But let's be real about what this family support actually means. 6 of Combs' 7 children, Christian, King Combs, Justin Combs, Quincy Brown, Chance Combs, Jesse Combs, and Delilah Combs, were present on May 12, 2025. The final day of jury selection and the trial's opening, they entered the federal district courthouse in Lower Manhattan together, holding hands, and took seats in the second row of the courtroom. This wasn't a one-time show of support following Combs' arrest in September 2020 for his sons. Justin and Christian attended earlier court appearances, establishing a pattern of consistent presence throughout the legal process. I get it, that's their dad, but come on, how are you going to support Someone accused of this level of abuse, the loyalty is misplaced, and honestly just sad to see during the trial's opening. Emotional exchanges between Diddy and his children were evident. He acknowledged their presence with a wave and blown kiss. In response, his children smiled and returned. FIST pumps signaling mutual encouragement despite the weight of the charges. Beyond physical presence, Diddy's children have vocally affirmed their allegiance in October 2024. Combs' adopted son, Quincy Brown, posted a statement on Instagram on behalf of the family. The past month has devastated our family. Many have judged both him and us based on accusations, conspiracy theories, and false narratives that have spiraled into absurdity on social media. We stand united, supporting you every step of the way. Conspiracy theories. We've literally seen the hotel surveillance footage of him assaulting Cassie. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's evidence the involvement of Diddy's children carries deeper implications. By appearing in court and showing affection, they potentially humanize Combs before the jury, softening his image and countering the prosecution's portrayal of him as a predator. Their presence alongside their grandmother, Janice Combs, reinforces this familiar narrative. It's a strategic move to make the jury see him as a family man rather than the alleged abuser, Cassie described. However, some observers question the appropriateness of their exposure to the trial's graphic and disturbing testimony during particularly explicit portions of Ventura's testimony describing sexual encounters. Diddy's daughters left the courtroom highlighting the emotional impact on his family. Why would you bring your children to hear such disturbing allegations in the first place? That seems more about creating sympathy than protecting them. Public reaction to both the trial and the family's support has been deeply divided, reflecting the polarizing nature of the case and Diddy's celebrity status. And trust me, people have opinions on social media, particularly X, formerly Twitter. Reactions span the spectrum from admiration to condemnation. Some fans express support for the family's loyalty, but the same people out here are far more critical, questioning the family's judgment. The courtroom itself turned into a whole episode of wild and out for public reactions during Ventura's breakdown of them. Freak-offs. Somebody in the overflow room straight yelled out, "That's disgusting," and started worrying about her testifying while carrying a whole child inside. Her security had to escort them out like they was at the club past last call. But can you blame Shorty for that reaction? What Cassie described as disgusting. That's like hearing someone explain how they make hot dogs and then still expecting you to eat one. After media outlets have been amplifying this trial like it's a new Drake album, with CNN and NPR highlighting Ventura's emotional testimony, Judge Aaron Subramanian shut down media requests for freak-off footage citing potential revictimization, which sparked debates about transparency versus protecting victims. At least the judge showing some respect for what Cassie already been through. That's like the bare minimum decent thing to do after someone's trauma got put on blast. Some delusional fans out here still capping for Diddy, saying his behavior might have been problematic, but doesn't count as sex trafficking. Others peeping how he's looking all gray and weak in court, seeing it for what it is, a calculated move to make the jury feel sorry for his dusty behind the family's unwavering support while supposedly humanizing. Diddy actually raises mad questions about enabling behavior and the complicity of silence. Meanwhile, social media keeps buzzing as more testimony drops and the legal system does its thing. What's crystal clear is that regardless of the verdict, this case already got people talking about power dynamics, abuse patterns, and holding celebrities accountable. Conversations that'll keep going long after the gavel drops, and it's about time. These conversations are happening. The entertainment industry have been protecting abusers longer than Supreme Court justices served terms since getting booked in September 2020 for Shaw. Diddy Combs been locked down at the Metropolitan Detention Center (MDC) in Brooklyn, New York, a federal joint notorious for conditions rougher than discount brand toilet paper. The facility, which previously housed other fallen stars like R. Kelly and Ghislaine Maxwell, catches heat for violence, lockdowns longer than pandemic quarantine, and maintenance worse than a 1992 Honda Civic. It's a complete 180 from the lavish lifestyle. Diddy was flexing for decades how the mighty have fallen from making vodka commercials on yachts to making toilet hooch in jail cells. Combs is posted up in a section they call for North, a fourth-floor unit separated from general population. This setup got them bunk beds looking like summer camp for adults, community TVs probably playing nothing but basic cable, a microwave that probably only half works, a ping pong table with no paddles and access to yoga mats, and a basketball hoop shorter than Kevin Hart. Inmates in Fort North, usually high-profile cats and snitches, can move around inside the area, and cop tablets from commissary for music and movies, but no internet access, so no more Instagram flexing. While Fort North supposedly safer than other spots in MDC Brooklyn, one former inmate said, "You have nothing to worry about. There, the place still got more issues than a therapy session." In June 2024, somebody got shanked to death and another dude got murked in a brawl just a month later, showing the place is still wilder than Nick 98, not so comfortable when you ain't got security in a mansion gate. Puff Combs Daily life now follows. A strict scheduled breakfast at 7 o'clock a.m., multiple mandatory bed checks throughout the day, meals eaten in a common area, standard brown jail clothes and bathroom stalls that provide some privacy. It's a regimented existence that bears zero resemblance to his former freedom. No more private jets, luxury homes, or designer outfits, just a brown uniform and a bunk bed. Karma really is something else. Family support has been another pillar of his survival strategy. Visits from his family, including his 4 adult children and 2 teenage twin daughters, provide emotional strength during this challenging time. His children have demonstrated unwavering support, attending key court appearances and making public statements of solidarity. In October 2024, Combs's adopted son, Quincy Brown, posted a statement on Instagram on behalf of the family saying, "The past month has devastated our family. Many have judged both him and us based on accusations, conspiracy theories, and false narratives that have spiraled into absurdity on social media. We stand united, supporting you every step of the way." Conspiracy theories: we've literally seen the hotel surveillance footage of him assaulting Cassie. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's evidence. 7 months of incarceration have visibly impacted Combs. His jet black hair and beard have turned gray as hair dye is prohibited in the facility. This change was evident during court appearances where he wore a khaki jail uniform, a stark departure from the designer clothes and carefully maintained appearance. He was known for the man as looking rough, and after what Cassie described, it feels like poetic justice. Despite reports that he tries to maintain a positive attitude, encouraging other inmates to smile, the psychological burden of jail life combined with the facility's harsh conditions has likely taken a toll. Some speculative reports suggest he's been running the jail or paying off inmates for favors, though these claims remain unconfirmed, and his legal team has denied them. Typical Diddy, always trying to be in control, even in jail. One of the most intriguing aspects of this case is the potential impact of Rico's withdrawal on the trial itself. While jurors won't be explicitly told about his departure or his reasons, the prosecution could subtly leverage this information to suggest doubt within Diddy's own camp. This case, bigger than just Diddy himself, it represents a potential day of reckoning for the whole music industry, which been protecting and enabling powerful men accused of foul behavior longer than Supreme has been making overpriced t-shirts. The allegations already rocked the culture. Radio stations edited songs to remove Diddy's parts faster than people and tagged themselves from embarrassing photos, and his 2024 Grammy invitation got reevaluated quicker than a credit score after missing payments. Media coverage includes documentaries like Netflix's Diddy Do It and Peacock's Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, with proceeds supporting victims like a proper apology. Some former associates distanced themselves from Combs quicker than people backing away from someone with a cold, while others stayed quieter than a library at midnight. The case sparked broader conversations about power dynamics, consent, and accountability in the entertainment industry, and it's about time these conversations happening. These industry big shots been getting away with more dirt than a vacuum cleaner for too long. Looking ahead to the trial, legal experts laying out several possible endings to this story. If convicted on all charges, Diddy could face a life sentence longer than a CVS receipt. Even partial convictions could result in decades behind bars. Enough time for his hairline to recede all the way back. A full acquit seems less likely than finding a PS5 on sale during Christmas 2020, but the defense's jurisdictional arguments could potentially result in reduced charges. If they get lucky, there's also the possibility of a plea deal, though this would require Diddy to admit guilt to some degree, something he's been refusing to do, like a toddler refusing vegetables. His legal team has consistently maintained his innocence, claiming he has never assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman, but with the evidence stacking higher than Jenga blocks, that position looking shakier than a SoundCloud rapper's finances. The allegations against Diddy, covering over 30 years and involving dozens of accusers, represent not just individual claims, but a whole pattern of behavior enabled by an entire ecosystem of yes men and enablers. The involvement of employees, security personnel, and other associates in allegedly helping facilitate these activities raises questions about complicity and responsibility throughout the industry. That's like having a whole team of people helping someone commit crimes and pretending they didn't know what was happening. Cassie is brave for standing up, and I'm here for her getting the justice she deserves. That takes more courage than skydiving without a parachute. If you enjoyed this clip and would want to see more of such content, click on the card showing on the screen. Diddy, the iconic music mogul and founder of Bad Boy Records, now finds himself in a place far removed from the spotlight. Recently incarcerated at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, Diddy's final moments behind bars have revealed shocking truths about his time in prison, facing charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and exploitation. The luxurious lifestyle he once knew is gone, replaced by the harsh realities of prison. Life from his struggles with prison food to being placed on suicide watch, these revelations have reshaped public perception of the man once considered untouchable in the music world. Diddy's last moments in prison. Diddy finds himself entangled in a legal battle that has landed him behind bars at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. As the founder of Bad Boy Records, Diddy is no stranger to the limelight, but this time it's for all the wrong reasons. Charged with serious offenses, including racketeering conspiracy, Diddy faces a future that starkly contrasts his once glamorous lifestyle. His attorney Mark Agnall has recently revealed the most challenging aspect of Diddy's incarceration, and it's not what you might expect. Locked up since September 17, 2024. Diddy is now a resident of one of the most notorious detention centers in the United States. Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, often referred to as MDC Brooklyn, is a federal administrative facility that houses male and female inmates known for its high-profile detainees. The center has been the subject of numerous controversies over the years, including allegations of poor living conditions and inadequate medical care for Diddy, a man accustomed to the finest things in life. The adjustment to such an environment is undoubtedly a significant challenge. The daily routine at MDC Brooklyn is a far cry from the glamorous lifestyle Diddy once led. Inmates are awakened at 6 o'clock a.m. sharp with breakfast served shortly thereafter. The morning meal consists of cereal, fruit toast, and a breakfast cake, a stark contrast to the lavish spreads Diddy was once accustomed to. Lunch is served at 11 o'clock a.m., and dinner follows the 4:00 p.m. head count. The menu, which includes options like Swedish meatballs or a black bean burger, egg noodles, green beans, and a garden salad, is a far cry from the gourmet meals Diddy once enjoyed. The food, as revealed by Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, is perhaps the roughest part of his incarceration. Agnifi's comments highlight the stark contrast between Diddy's former life and his current predicament. Imagine switching from a rich diet to an average diet. Suddenly, I can't imagine what Diddy feels like, right? But it is certainly not a good feeling. These depictions paint a grim picture of meals that are not only unappetizing but also lacking in nutritional value. The reality of prison food is a stark contrast to the gourmet dining experiences enjoyed by celebrities like Diddy, whose lifestyle is characterized by indulgence and luxury. Prison food is typically described as bland and monotonous, with limited variety, and flavor meals often consist of processed meats, overcooked vegetables, and starchy sides, all served in a cafeteria style setting. The quality of the ingredients is generally low, and the preparation methods do little to enhance the taste. This is a far cry from the carefully curated dishes prepared by top chefs that Diddy is accustomed to. The nutritional value of prison food is another area of concern. Many former inmates report that the meals are high in carbohydrates and low in essential nutrients, leading to a diet that is unbalanced and unhealthy. This lack of nutrition can have serious implications for the health and well-being of inmates, who often have little choice but to consume what is provided. For someone like Diddy, who is conscious of his health and appearance, the idea of being subjected to such a diet is understandably unsettling. The fear of eating prison food, as rumored in Diddy's case, is not just about the taste or quality of the meals. It is about the broader implications of what it means to be in prison, the loss of autonomy, and the stark contrast to the life of luxury that he has built beyond the food. The conditions at MDC Brooklyn present their own set of challenges. The facility has been criticized for its overcrowded conditions, with inmates often sharing small cells designed for fewer occupants. The lack of privacy and personal space is a significant adjustment for someone like Diddy, who once enjoyed the luxury of sprawling mansions and private retreats. The detention center has also faced scrutiny for its inadequate medical care and limited access to mental health services. For Diddy, who is navigating the stress of a high-profile legal battle, the lack of comprehensive support services can exacerbate the challenges of incarceration. The isolation from the outside world, coupled with the uncertainty of his legal future, adds to the mental strain of life behind bars. What's worse is that the prison he's being kept in is the same place they kept Ghislaine Maxwell and R. Kelly, two other notorious convicted sex traffickers. It's not a nice place, and it's called the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. But don't let its outside appearance fool you. It's a notorious prison that reports say has been plagued by outbreaks of violence, unsanitary conditions, and understaffing. Reports say that Diddy is being kept away from other prisoners. For now, we don't yet know when Diddy's trial will be, but we can safely assume he'll be in a hurry to get out of that place. And from what we know about it, there's a chance he doesn't even survive until the trial. If that sounds far-fetched, just remember what happened to Epstein, another accused sex trafficker, who was miraculously killed in his cell before he made it to trial. What's more is that the Metropolitan Detention Center has a history of deadly stabbings and barbaric living conditions, and people have also said there are maggots in his food. It's in his food. According to a lawyer, at least 4 inmates have died by suicide there in the past 3 years, and just earlier this summer, an inmate was murdered. So you can see, why his lawyer is so desperate to get him out of there. Inmates have claimed there are stabbings at least once a week, and one guy even claimed that he saw somebody stabbed in the eyeball with a makeshift knife. Diddy's legal team has been vocal about their concerns regarding his well-being. They have raised alarms about the conditions at the detention center, emphasizing the toll it could take on their clients' mental and physical health. It was later revealed that Diddy was placed on suicide watch to ensure he does cause harm to himself because of his current situation. The revelation that Diddy is on suicide watch has only heightened these concerns, as it suggests a level of distress that is deeply troubling after some time in jail. His legal team proposed a $50 million bond, secured by the equity in his and his mother's houses in Florida. They argued that Diddy had made himself available for detention and had surrendered his passport, along with those of his daughters and mother, to his legal counsel. Despite these assurances, U.S. Magistrate Judge Robin Tanofsky denied the bail request. The decision to deny Diddy bail was not made lightly, as it involved weighing the arguments presented by both the prosecution and the defense. The prosecution, led by U.S. Attorney Damon Williams, painted a picture of Diddy as a significant risk to the community. They argued that his release could lead to potential witness tampering and further criminal activity. The prosecution highlighted Diddy's alleged substance misuse and anger issues, which they claimed made him a danger if released even under home detention. The prosecution's case was bolstered by the extensive evidence gathered during the investigation. This included testimony from dozens of witnesses and victims, as well as electronic evidence from Diddy's devices and those of his alleged co-conspirators. The prosecution argued that Diddy's wealth and influence in the entertainment industry could enable him to evade justice or intimidate witnesses, making his release a substantial risk. During Diddy's hearing, the arrival of his family at the Manhattan Federal Courthouse was a spectacle that drew significant attention from both the public and the media. As the family made their way to the courthouse, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation and curiosity. The presence of Diddy's family members was a powerful statement of solidarity as they stood by him amidst serious allegations he faces. The scene outside the courthouse was a flurry of activity, with reporters and photographers jostling for position to capture the moment. His family all walked into the courtroom in high spirits. The public too gathered in significant numbers, some out of support for the hip-hop mogul, others driven by curiosity about the high-profile case. Diddy's twin daughters, Delilah and Jessie Combs, both 17, were among the first to arrive, holding hands. They walked with a sense of purpose and determination, their expressions a mix of resolve and apprehension. Janice Combs, Diddy's mother, also made her way into the courthouse, her presence a testament to the family's unity and support. The family filled two entire rows of the courtroom gallery, a visible show of strength and solidarity. The relaxed-looking rapper appeared to be making a show of having family support while he faces disturbing human exploitation charges, as 6 of his 7 kids appeared in court, and he blew a kiss to his mother on his way out after the 40-minute cheering. I love you, Diddy said to her. But what exactly are the allegations against Diddy that has led to this situation? Allegations against Diddy, an indictment in the months leading up to September 16, 2024. Diddy found himself navigating a complex web of personal and legal challenges that would ultimately culminate in his arrest by federal authorities. While he maintained a public persona of success and influence, there were underlying issues that hinted at the storm brewing beneath the surface. One of the significant legal issues that Diddy faced was related to financial discrepancies within his business empire. Reports surfaced that federal investigators were scrutinizing the financial records of several of his companies, including Bad Boy Records and Shaw John. Allegations of tax evasion and money laundering began to circulate, raising questions about the financial practices within his enterprises. These investigations were part of a broader federal crackdown on financial misconduct in the entertainment industry, targeting high-profile figures suspected of engaging in illicit activities. In addition to the financial scrutiny, Diddy was embroiled in a series of legal battles concerning intellectual property rights. Several lawsuits were filed against him by former collaborators and business partners, claiming unpaid royalties and breach of contract. These legal disputes not only threatened his financial stability, but also cast a shadow over his reputation as a fair and ethical businessman. On a personal front, Diddy was dealing with the pressures of maintaining his public image. Amidst growing scrutiny, his relationships, both personal and professional, were under the microscope, with tabloids frequently speculating about his private life. Reports of strained relationships with former associates and family members added to the mounting pressure, painting a picture of a man grappling with the demands of his multifaceted life. Despite these challenges, Diddy continued to project an image of resilience and determination. He remained active in the music scene, releasing new projects and collaborating with artists across genres. His appearances at high-profile events and interviews were marked by a confident demeanor as he sought to reassure fans and stakeholders of his unwavering commitment to his craft and business ventures. However, behind the scenes, the federal investigation was intensifying. Sources close to the investigation revealed that authorities were building a case against Diddy focusing on alleged financial misconduct and potential involvement in organized crime activities. The investigation was shrouded in secrecy with few details emerging publicly, but it was clear that the stakes were high for the music mogul. As the investigation progressed, Diddy reportedly sought legal counsel and began preparing for a potential legal battle. His legal team, comprising some of the top attorneys in the country, worked tirelessly to address the allegations and negotiate with federal authorities. Despite their efforts, the situation seemed to be spiraling out of control, with the possibility of an arrest looming on the horizon. The tension reached a boiling point in early September 2024, when federal agents conducted a series of raids on properties linked to Diddy. These raids, which were part of the ongoing investigation, resulted in the seizure of documents and electronic devices believed to contain evidence of financial misconduct. The raids sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, signaling that the investigation was nearing a critical juncture. On September 16, 2024, the situation came to a head when federal authorities executed an arrest warrant for Diddy. The arrest, which took place at his Los Angeles residence, was carried out with precision and involved a team of federal agents. Among the host of people who have filed a lawsuit against Diddy for different reasons is Thalia Graves. She came forward as the 11th individual to accuse Diddy of having his way with her non-consensually. According to the lawsuit filed in September 2024, Graves alleges that the incident occurred in 2001 at Diddy's New York City recording studio. Graves, who was an aspiring artist at the time, claimed she was invited to the studio under the pretense of discussing her music career. However, the meeting took a sinister turn when Diddy allegedly inflicted injuries on her. Graves asserts that she was bound and forcefully laid with by Diddy and one of his employees, an ordeal that was not only traumatic but also recorded without her consent. The lawsuit further claims that the footage of the attack was later sold as pornography, adding another layer of exploitation to the horrific event. Graves has stated that the incident left her emotionally scarred, impacting her personal and professional life for years. The mess does not end there. In a stunning twist of events, New York Mayor Eric Adams, who gave Diddy the keys to the city, has been indicted on 5 counts. His tenure has been marred by controversy and allegations that have now culminated in federal charges. The first whispers of trouble began in early 2023, when rumors surfaced about potential campaign finance violations. By mid-year, federal investigators had started probing into Adams's 2021 mayoral campaign, focusing on alleged illegal foreign donations from Turkey. The investigation intensified in late 2023, with federal agents seizing electronic devices from key figures within Adams' administration, including his chief fundraiser, Brianna Suggs. On September 26, 2024, the situation reached a boiling point as federal investigators executed a search warrant at Gracie Mansion, the official residence of the mayor. All of the controversies, the New York mayor came into limelight during the period Diddy got arrested, and people are trying to draw links between the two incidents. It got more intriguing when the deputy mayor and a host of others in the mayor's cabinet sent in their resignation. A bigger controversy which has resurfaced since Diddy got arrested is his link with Tupac's death. Reopening a case as complex and high-profile as Tupac Shakur's murder involves navigating a labyrinth of legal and investigative challenges. The decision by Tupac's family to enlist the expertise of attorney Alex Spiro marks a pivotal moment in the quest for justice. Known for his work on high-profile cases, Spiro brings a wealth of experience and a reputation for tenacity to the investigation, offering new hope for uncovering the truth. The legal process of revisiting Tupac's murder involves a meticulous examination of existing evidence, witness testimonies, and any new information that may have emerged over the years. Spiro's role is to piece together the puzzle, identifying potential leads and connections that may have been overlooked or dismissed in previous investigations. This includes scrutinizing the explosive claims made by Dwayne Keefe Davis, who alleged that Diddy offered him $1 million for a hit on Tupac. The implications of this investigation are profound, not only for the legacy of Tupac Shakur, but also for the broader hip-hop community. If a link between Diddy and Tupac's murder is established, it could reshape the narrative of one of music's most enduring mysteries, challenging long-held beliefs and potentially altering the perception of key figures within the industry. One of Diddy's most publicized alleged victims is Lil Rod Jones. Lil Rod shocked the world when he filed a 100-page lawsuit that extensively detailed many crimes allegedly committed by Diddy, including grooming, among other things, including serious allegations against high-profile celebrities and members of Diddy's closest associates. According to the lawsuit, Rod is a musical prodigy, and his talents have been used to produce and create music that has been used by some of the biggest names in the industry. It says he met Diddy in August of 2022 after he received a call from him, which requested his assistance on Diddy's up-and-coming album titled The Love Album. Off the grid, this would be any up-and-coming producer's dream. Getting a call from one of the biggest names in music to be part of their first album in nearly 20 years would sound like an amazing opportunity. However, according to Rod, this dream would soon become a nightmare. The lawsuit states that from September 2022 to November 2023, Rod worked on and helped produce 9 songs from the album. That doesn't sound like that long, since we know albums can sometimes take years to finish. But what was strange is that Diddy allegedly required Rod to live with him for the entire duration. That's right, for over a year. Rod was effectively spending months at a time with Diddy. Working on the album, Rod says that he missed birthdays, holidays, and important family events during that time. Sadly, missing out on his personal life was the least of Rod's worries, as the lawsuit claims he witnessed and endured many things that went far beyond what any producer would be expected to do. Things like exploitation, drug use and distribution, providing laced alcoholic drinks to minors, and many more serious crimes. What's even more shocking is that Diddy isn't the only person that's named in the lawsuit. Many high-profile people, like the actor Cuba Gooding Jr., the Oscar-winning actor known for his role in films like Boys in the Hood. The lawsuit claims that Diddy groomed Rod into having intercourse with Cuba and that he even groped him. Cuba, who's been accused of various crimes related to sexual misconduct, has broken his silence on it and has had this to say in his defense. Your name, for example, was mentioned in the Diddy case, which was the most ridiculous thing ever. This is the most ridiculous thing ever, but again, welcome to being a celebrity. Despite claiming to barely know Diddy and saying the case is ridiculous, the lawsuit shows pictures that appear to be Cuba getting very intimate with Lil Rod. You've got to admit, whoever's in that picture looks very similar to Cuba Gooding Jr. And since his hands are all over Rod, the claims that he did inappropriate things to him might not be that ridiculous. Apart from Cuba, there's a whole host of names implicated in Rod's lawsuit. Like we mentioned before, a world-famous pastor known as Bishop T.D. Jakes was said to have been leveraged by Diddy to soften the impact the Cassie Ventura case had on his public image. While that alone doesn't implicate T.D. Jake as being guilty of any crimes, it got a lot of people wondering why he was so closely associated with Diddy and his crazy parties that have been notorious for years. In 2022, a video went viral on Facebook which showed T.D. Jake at Diddy's 53rd birthday party. Even without the alleged criminal activity, Diddy parties have always been known as quite a sinful affair. So what was a pastor doing there? In the pastor's defense, a spokesperson came out to say that Jake only stopped off at the party after a brief visit since he was in town. A massive part of many of the lawsuits against Diddy is the elaborate sexual nature of Diddy's parties and the so-called freak-offs that occur in them, that are alleged to often have homosexual acts being performed. Many think it's entirely inappropriate for a pastor to ever attend a Diddy party, and it's safe to say they're right. We may never know for sure what went on at Diddy's 53rd birthday party in regards to T.D. Jake, but Did's ex security guard Gene Deal, who attended many of these parties, had a few things to say about it. He says that back in the day, the crazy sexual stuff would happen behind closed doors, but nowadays it happens out in the open, suggesting that the bishop would definitely have seen some sinful behavior going on. Here's Deal talking about it.
Maybe fornicating, maybe, like I said, men on men, women on women. It's hard to put in perspective unless he's involving himself what is actually going on at the parties.
Cuba Gooding Jr. and T.D. Jakes are among the long list of names that the Rod lawsuit talks about, but there are some that have been redacted, which people are very curious about since the Rod lawsuit back in February. Meek Mill's name has constantly been mentioned due to people believing he was one of the redacted names. Since Diddy's arrest, a new viral leaked audio has been circulating that people claim is of Diddy having sex with Meek. Mill has denied the previous allegations and the new ones and said the two things they say: we snitching or we gay. We generating hundreds of millions from music. It's not a coincidence. We all gay and snitches. Meek definitely has a lot more to say, but will not, at least for his own sake, because stuff that he and Diddy allegedly did is not welcome in the hip-hop community. Another victim who sued Diddy was Cassie, but Diddy opted to settle out of court. Besides Cassie, there are other celebrities whose names have been mentioned in Diddy's scandal. So far, other celebrities named in the scandal in Lil Rod's lawsuit. He mentioned Young Miami and her cousin as a part of those who were forcefully inappropriate with him. The allegations made by Lil Rod against Young Miami's cousin are nothing short of shocking. According to the lawsuit filed by Lil Rod, the events of November 23, 2022 unfolded in a manner that left him traumatized and seeking justice. The atmosphere was typical of many high-profile recording sessions with music blaring, people mingling, and substances being passed around. Diddy, who was reportedly intoxicated, offered Lil Rod cocaine, which he declined, feeling uncomfortable. Lil Rod decided to take a break and headed to the restroom. What happened next is at the heart of Lil Rod's allegations. As he was using the restroom, Young Miami's cousin, who was reportedly her assistant, burst into the bathroom. According to the lawsuit, she began groping Lil Rod without his consent. Lil Rod believes that Diddy sent her there to be inappropriate with him, a claim that adds a layer of conspiracy to the already disturbing incident. The documents detail how Young Miami's cousin allegedly dropped to her knees and began performing oral sex on Lil Rod. Shocked and horrified, Lil Rod pushed her away and attempted to leave the bathroom. However, the nightmare did not end there. The lawsuit states that Young Miami's cousin did not accept his rejection and followed him out of the bathroom in a brazen and disturbing display. She started undressing and attempted to straddle Lil Rod, trying to have sex with him in the presence of Diddy and his staff. Once again, Lil Rod pushed her off, managing to escape the situation. While that lawsuit filed by Lil Rod has not been treated fully, and Diddy has not received any judgment on it yet. Speaking of celebrities involved in Diddy scandals, in a jaw-dropping revelation, Jason Lee set the entertainment world abuzz with his claim of witnessing an extraordinary gathering at the opulent home of music mogul Diddy. The unexpected attendees, none other than the iconic rapper Jay-Z and the influential pastor T.D. Jake. Although he claimed he did not see anything weird, name-dropping both Jay-Z and T.D. Jake sure made things interesting and suspicious, because since Diddy was arrested, Jay-Z and T.D. Jakes have been so silent that their silence could cut through butter like a hot knife. Speaking of Diddy's parties, which are nicknamed freak-offs, a celebrity who admitted to attending one of such freak-offs was Khloe Kardashian. She admitted it in a video of Keeping Up with the Kardashians and mentioned that was where she crossed paths with Justin Bieber. The video, which was recorded in 2014, has Khloe telling Kourtney about the wild event that "I got on a plane at 5:30 a.m. Well, this party, half the people there were naked. You would have loved it." When Khloe Kardashian admitted to attending one of Diddy's infamous freak-off parties, the revelation sent shockwaves through both the public and media landscapes. It's really telling that many celebrities corroborate that Diddy indeed used to host these freak-off parties. It remains to be seen if Diddy will finally be sentenced to time in jail or will be discharged and acquitted.